So, final step are these bright yellow leaves. So we want to make, I don't want a pure yellow to begin with. We're going to be kind of doing the same thing that we did with these leaves back here, which is create the deep yellow like shadow color essentially, and then, well, it's going to be still going to be really bright. It's not going to be deep. And then we're also going to create a highlight on top of that afterward. So for the first color, we want to get, I have a deep yellow. Some of you probably are working with like primary yellow, which is going to be a little bit lighter than this, which is totally fine. But put that on your palette. Put a nice, pretty heavy glob. I'll show you what I've got. That's how much yellow I put down. And we want to create a mac and cheese color. Everybody should know what color mac and cheese is. I think that's the easiest way to relate to that. So my original yellow that I have is really yellow. So I'm going to put a little bit of red. And like I said, slowly add red. Red is a really, really dominant pigment. So anytime you add red, it's going to try to take over and kind of like cover up those other pigments. So do a small amount of red in comparison to how much yellow you have. The ratio might be like 5-to-1 yellow to red to start out with, but then, you know, you can just work from there. If it's still too yellow, you can continue to add a little more red. If it starts to get really orange, then go back and add some more yellow. So yeah, I think I did. I did 5-to-1 and it's already a little orange. So I'm gonna have to go back and, yeah, it's really orange, Danny. I'm gonna have to add some more yellow. And if yours is deep, if you're working with like a deep yellow like I am, or even there are some yellows that are like already kind of mac and cheese color, you can also add a little white if you want to. I'm gonna do that since I just added too much red. And if you do add white and you start to get like a fry sauce color, if you guys know what fry sauce looks like, if any of my Idaho people, fry sauce I think is kind of an Idaho thing. Just start adding more yellow and red to get it if it starts to get a little bit too light. Okay, so I think I've got, now that I added more yellow, it's pretty orange. It's a little on the orange side than I meant to have, but it's still nice. Try to just get that as close to mac and cheese as you possibly can. If yours looks like mine, I think it's still gonna look good. Okay, so now get a medium brush. It might be good to use the same brush that you used for the first leaves, or maybe get just a slightly bigger one, because we're, you know, thinking that these leaves are more in the foreground, so they're going to be a little bit bigger since they're closer to us. So let's move my thinking out of the way. Okay. And just like we did before, we're just going to start adding like these kind of blobby shapes on there. And I really like the way these trees kind of tend to like hug some of the tree trunks a little bit. I don't know if you can see that. Some of them kind of come off of it. And then, so we've got some down here, but then it's heavier up here too as it gets higher up, and we've got more of these spindly branches creating these leaves. The leaves are going to be a little bit thicker. So I'm just going to start going for it, and still remembering to have that variation. And just kind of try to follow where the branches are. But they can really be wherever you want them to be. Oh, I think I forgot to show you, maybe I did, how big my brush is. And actually, I think this might be a little big. So I'm gonna switch it out just for because I'm putting this paint on really, really thick. Like I can make this part super 3D stand out. So I'm putting a lot of paint on my paintbrush. So I'm actually gonna get a little bit smaller, that one. All right. So, and then yeah, just go for it. And like I said, still have that variation. And some of the green might show through a little bit. That is totally okay. These, if your leaves have a little green twinge to them, that's totally fine. They might just be greener. But if you want to avoid that, like I said before, you could blow dry your layer if it's still a little wet, or just lay that on really thick. Like, it is 3D coming off of that canvas right now for mine. And it might be thicker in some places. You might have more leaves clustered together. And if you decide, you know, if you earlier you created a branch that you didn't really like, it's fine, because you can just cover it up with leaves now. And just, yeah, kind of, you can have them peeking in and out. Like, imagine some of these are in the background, so they'll be behind, and then maybe some of them are in the foreground. And the other reason you want to do like a pretty thick layer of this, and you can add more white if you need to, yellow tends to be a really translucent paint color, meaning it just allows things to come through. Even if you have a significant amount of it, or even if it's pretty thick. So if you do want to add a little bit of white to lighten it up, if it's dark like mine, it'll also make it more opaque, so that those colors won't come through underneath it. And I'm definitely still allowing for a lot of negative space. I don't want to totally cover up all the work that I just did with the yellow. I want it to peep through. But still, I'm just following these branches and creating that variation. They're all pretty small leaves for me, but some are bigger and smaller than others. And I like how this one in the picture, you have these leaves like kind of coming off of the tree trunk itself. I think that's cool. So I'm just gonna create, I'm doing this downward swoopy motion to create those shapes that I see. Kind of have them coming off of it. Nice. And you can just go wherever you want to with this. Have them go off the page, off the canvas. Create thicker shapes, thinner ones. And if you find that your colors aren't popping the way you want, just go back and add more yellow and red if you added too much white and they're lighter than you want. I like this color. And I'm pretty much just gonna go until I run out of paint. I didn't put a ton on my palette. I don't feel like I need a lot because I really like the work that I already did. So I'm not gonna totally cover it up with these leaves. Kind of zigzag around. Maybe one tree has a lot more leaves than others. Like this one, I'm thinking maybe it's just like more in the light. And you can have some down here. I'm kind of focusing toward the top, but I just realized I'm kind of making this like stark, oops, geez, this line with the leaves, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to bring some of them, just a few of them down here, so that I don't have this like line. Now it's like more gradient. More subtle. All right. So I'm pretty happy with the amount of yellow I have on there, and now it really is starting to pop, really starting to, you know, the whole thing is starting to take shape. And the last thing you can do, if you want to, you don't have to because this is already a successful painting. I'm just adding a little bit of white to that yellow color that I created to make a highlight, and go back in and just add some of that light color, as if, like we said before, the sun is hitting those leaves and illuminating them. Yeah, a little bit more paint. And that's just going to create even more of a pop against that green and against those beige colors that we made before. And I'm being pretty conservative with the amount of highlight that I'm doing because I want that really bold yellow color, yellow-orange color to come through. I'm just barely doing highlights here and there. Still touching all of the areas where the leaves are, but I'm trying not to cover up too much of that first color that I made. And you can just keep doing this as long as you want, as many leaves as you want to have, as much yellow. Feel free to keep going. But I think that this is pretty nice and done. To give a close-up. See just the variation in the leaves. It's really pretty 3D. I don't know if you can tell like how thick that paint is on that final layer. Since we're not doing any more layers, you can get it as thick as you want to and really make it stand out as if the leaves are just like coming off of the canvas. You can see the little highlight that I've got here and there. If you want to do that, you can also add a darker yellow if you want to make it the shadow. It's totally up to you. But I'm pretty happy with it. I'm gonna call it done. So the very last thing that you do with a finished painting is you sign it. I always sign mine in the bottom right corner and something you can see. So I always put my first and last name. You can initial it if you want. Kind of hard to see. I'm doing it really sloppily. But sign it to where it doesn't totally take over the painting, but you can still see the signature, and then date it. So I just put a little apostrophe and then 20. You can put the month if you want. And we're done. So if you want to keep working, totally keep working. I'm really excited. I hope you guys post your finished paintings for me to see, for everybody to see. I had so much fun. I hope you guys had fun too. I will probably also be doing more of these just publicly. So if you guys want to continue to do more paint and sips with me, you can follow my Instagram. I think I'm going to create like an email sign up list so you can sign up for that too. If you want to, if you have all of these supplies and you want to keep painting, you want more tutorials or more, just like more reasons to paint and drink. I hope you join me again, and I hope you had fun. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.